the roll call.
And
just one moment, please. So is Weary not attending, or is he absent?
We don't know yet. So I just texted him and I asked him if he was going to join the meeting. Let's just wait and see what happens.
Okay. We can take roll call. Do you want me to do that, or do you want to do that, Kim?
the chair should take
Everybody
roll.
is checked in except for, nope, you can start doing the roll call.
Okay. All right. Alder Dorf.
Here.
Alder Weary is not here. Clerk Teskey.
Here.
Chief of Staff Jeffries.
Here.
Carrie Racine.
Here.
Karen Schley.
Here.
Susan Smith, I'm here. H. Smet.
Here.
And Professor Staudinger.
Here.
Great. The first thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Great. Any discussion? Anything anybody wants to change? Terry?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Sorry. You lit up, so I wasn't sure. Okay. All those in favor of the agenda as written, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Right. No, I'm sorry. You were in favor, Karen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Nobody opposed. Next on the agenda is the approval of minutes.
Chair, may I say something before
Yes.
we do that? So a little bit of a miscommunication. So the minutes were very, very late. I did send them, I believe, to everybody as well as publish them. So I would just, maybe we should just go through the minutes to make sure that they really capture what had happened last week. So let me just pull those up.
Let me,
And I will share them.
Chief. Oh, okay. Did you send him in the district email or in the city email? Because I don't see him.
Oh, I didn't. So you didn't get them? Oh my. Okay.
No.
So let's look.
No.
At no. All right.
Need some help, but that's all I got.
Here we go. Okay. Could we come back to this item a little bit later?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes.
I assume nobody has a problem with that. Should we amend the agenda or? All right.
So you can just hold this item until the end of the meeting.
Is there a motion for that?
I move to hold this item till the end of the agenda.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Terry, was that you? That was me.
Okay. And any opposed? The agenda will be modified as indicated by the motion. We'll move to regular business. Number 1 is consideration with possible action on newly identified and or secured polling location. And I'll let, yes, Alder Dorf.
So I'm chairing that subcommittee and have had conversation with Clerk Teskey, with the mayor, with several other people. I know from our last meeting that Karen and Terry felt very strongly that the high schools would be a good location. And so even though the first request was turned down, I have not given up on that. And there will be a meeting tomorrow that may give us some further information. So I will be like a dog with a bone, and I will try very, very hard because you guys have the experience, you know best. And the other thing is that I spoke with the mayor, and one of the things that we may need to utilize our municipal buildings. We have lost so many. I think the last time I talked to Clerk Teskey, We had 13 confirmed. I don't know if that changed, but we had only there's 14 confirmed now out of the 31. We obviously, and a lot of the rest of those were absolutely no. It wasn't going to happen. So we don't have enough polling locations. If we have to find other ones. So still looking at Bay Beach Pavilion, still looking at the Wildlife Sanctuary, the possibility of vacant buildings. It's still a work in progress, and I would ask if Clerk Teske has anything to add to that report.
I do. Thank you. Is it okay, Chair? Okay. So when I say 14, that's actual buildings. I guess my question is, and we kind of talked about this before, some of these places have 2 wards, but I don't think they should hold 2 wards for the social distancing part of it. My other issue is, and Terry brought this up with St. Bernard's, the ideal thing would be to have a door in and a separate door out. I don't think some of these that have agreed are okay with that. Are we okay with that?
So what I've done is shared the screen with the most updated. You do have this in your packet, but there's one addition. So this is what Chris is also talking about. You can see which wards are at which polling locations.
Right. The only thing is if you look at Christ of the Bay, it says 4 and 19. I don't think 4 should be there. Let's see. I'm sorry, 19. I don't think 19 should be there. So,
well, we're going to have to deal with that. I mean, in the end, what we want is a report that says, here's the wards that we can do, and here's the orphans that we may have to put elsewhere, right?
And I have a spreadsheet made up that says the proposed number of poll workers I wanted for this election, the polling locations that have answered and not answered, that how many chief inspectors I have per place, and how many election inspectors I have per place. So there's some buildings that have no poll workers, and there's some places that we're not allowed in, but we have a full team.
But that team maybe would be willing to go to another location then.
Correct, with the work. So that's why I'm thinking if we got, like you said, the schools maybe, if possible, or bigger places, these secondary wards, that smaller ones in these places could go to a bigger place, and we have tables for those.
Chris, can you share that document? I'll give you permission.
Oh, okay.
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Or not. I think I have too many co-hosts.
Can I email it to you
Yeah,
and
please.
you put
Yep.
it up?
Yeah, I can sure do that.
Okay, all right.
Chair?
Yes.
I think a point that I want to make is, Clerk Teske, there is no way that I want this committee to get in the way of you doing what you need to do. We are here to help, but we are not here to hinder. And so if there are things that you need to do, please don't wait for our permission to do those things. You have to be able to do them. Chief of Staff Celestine Jeffries, would you agree with that?
I would agree.
Okay. So is there anything that you need to ask us as a committee that you didn't know that you could go ahead and do?
Yeah, hang on just one second. There you go, Celestine.
Okay, thank you.
I have my list here. Well, number one, a tabulator became available. They got a shipment in of tabulator, higher speed tabulators. So that's one of the things that I know would help on the day of. Oh, should we go back to this?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was working on this. So the last column is what I'm short for poll workers.
This one, G.
Okay.
So that first column is what I would like for all awards. Obviously, this was for a normal presidential, but again, we don't know how many will go to the polls. So if I'm less than that, I'm okay, but that was my goal. And then some of these here that I have, like, okay, let's do Croc Center.
Croc
So
Center.
the
Oh,
Croc
yeah.
Center will let us use it in August, but maybe not November. And then when you go down farther, like Green Bay Metro, where I have the question mark, that's a nice room, but I don't know if we should have 2 wards there. It does share a machine, but I was going to check with Patty to see if maybe, I think there's another door they could go out. So there'd be an indoor and an outdoor. So maybe that would work because those 2 wards are small. I'm just not sure what we have to follow.
Chris, what would make you sure? I mean, do you need to measure them? Do you need a certain amount of square feet? Because
I have no clue. I don't know what makes it acceptable as a polling location to meet like CDC guidelines.
In
Chair
this sort of
Susan, do you have any ideas, Chair Susan?
Yeah, no, I mean, so it sounds like and right now we're talking about polling stations, prior polling stations, correct? Not the new ones that we would have to audit, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So one, I think any of those that say they're a yes, we could not turn down at this point until we determine that we absolutely don't need them. You know, the best case scenario is that we have too many polling places. We get the high schools, we get some City of Green Bay properties, and we can say then to the smaller polling stations, okay, we don't need you. But in terms of CDC guidelines, I guess and this is maybe something we can look at in one of our subcommittees. We'd have to look at because I know Brown County has published guidelines, and everything is a guideline with the state, and also the state has guidelines. I haven't seen any with respect to voting per se, but we could certainly look at those guidelines to see what they're recommending. And if they recommend both separate doors for entering and exiting, then we'd have to look at the locations individually. But I think for the moment, we should not say no to any of them. Keep them on our list. Keep them, yes, we're going to use you until we absolutely know, no, we cannot. And even if they have one entrance, I could foresee if we needed to use a polling place that only has one entrance, we could have a line that's and if there's a line there, we could make sure that the line is far enough away from the door so people could exit, and the people would stand in line. We would have to have a volunteer or someone directing traffic so people weren't running into each other with one entrance or exit. So I think some of the logistics of those questions will have to be answered as we get closer to the actual election. But at least for the time being, I would keep them on the list, keep them, in your toll, and then we can go forward and we can start looking at, okay, what does CDC recommend? I don't think WEC, did they come out with anything prior to the April election about entrances and exits?
I didn't look at April. I thought they should put something out new now because everything changes, and I haven't seen anything. My thought was, though, yes, the ones that have yes, I would want to keep. But if they're doing one ward and not the other, I don't think we should use them. I think it's going to confuse people too much. I think we should try and be consistent.
Agreed. I definitely think we should be consistent, but still, I wouldn't say no to any polling place yet because we haven't acquired the large polling places that we're trying to obtain. So at least for the time being, and I'm open to a suggestion or a motion.
My only issue is though, if you're talking about someone at the door, I'm not counting
Oh,
that, I'm not counting that in my poll worker count. So are we counting on like PD to help with that at each location then?
No, I don't think we can. I mean, if we get the high schools, PD is going to be very involved with the high schools. We're going to need them for security. So we can't, there's got to be other people. And I think the mayor has indicated that there will be other people, but
I haven't heard that.
don't we have a
I guess-
meeting now, Monday, you and I and the mayor? And yeah, check your email. We're going to be discussing a lot of this Monday.
I thought that was more
Polling place.
expenses.
Well, it's going to be everything. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's going to have to
I
be
don't know if
everything. We need decisions.
My
right?
internet is wonky. I'm going to try to log.
You should call in, Susan. Maybe that'll be better.
Pardon me?
Call in?
Yeah, let me do that. Let me go out and back in.
So do you want me to finish what else I need from
Yeah.
you guys?
Go ahead, I'll-
Yes.
Okay. Right now, I have to know the extended hours because I have to turn that into the county tomorrow. And Celestine, you were going to check with the mayor on that?
Yes. So, in terms of City Hall being opened, so we're
Can't hear
gonna,
you, Celestine.
oh, sorry, in terms of City Hall being open for voting, so that would be starting not as early as June 25th, but mid-July, so July 13th. And then, I think that this is something we have to, I'm not sure about those extended hours like we had discussed. I'm not sure.
I have to tell the county tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow's the deadline for both elections, and I'm off tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm trying to reach Alder Weary. Hi, Alder. No.
So
Yeah.
are we sticking to the agenda?
Okay. Can somebody accept Alder Weary into the meeting? It says host is in another meeting.
He's in
You
the
don't
wrong
see him
meeting.
out there. Okay. I sent you here, I'll mute myself. You guys keep meeting.
So, and Susan has to come back too.
Well, Alderdorf asked what I needed now. That's why I'm responding
Sure.
to those things.
We should probably stick to the agenda though.
Okay, I meant as far as polling places, so which is what we were on. But okay, you're right. We should absolutely stick to the agenda, and our chair is now back.
Okay.
I don't have
Sorry
any
about
more.
that. Hopefully this will work better. We'll see.
I'm done with my report. I have nothing else.
Okay. And was there any motion that we need to make? Is there any recommendation that we want to make, or we'll hold this for the next meeting and have another update next week?
I mean, I like what you said about going with basically including the polling locations that have said yes to us as this is what we have to deal with, and then finding other ones if we're going to be short, which it seems like we will be. So I would make a motion to count on the polling locations that have responded positively for August and November, and then move forward with identifying additional polling locations to ensure a smooth election on November 3rd and August 11th.
Okay, I can second that. I'm just a little clarification. I might want to add an amendment that, I mean, at what point do we determine if they're acceptable polling locations? Do we, at what point, which is what we were kind of talking about, do we determine there's enough space and there's openings that people can go in and out? Where does that come in? Or do we just take them right now and we worry about that down the line?
I would say that
Is that an amendment?
I don't know. I'm asking Celestine. I'm sorry. I don't know.
I think that the polling locations we have, So the question is if they're acceptable for more than the wards that they're currently assigned. That's the question. So
Now, for even up to the wards that they're clerk, I hate to contradict, but there's one that's
there's
not
one,
even.
it
right.
seems like, that there's one ward that 4 and 19, whichever one that
Yeah.
is, I can't remember. So 19 shouldn't be there. So that's, but the
four,
other locations that have said yes, forgive me, sorry. Okay. The other locations that have said yes, are currently acceptable for the wards that they have. The question is, are they appropriate for additional wards?
Okay. I wasn't understanding that, so.
I mean, those are current
Yes,
locations.
Clerk Teske.
Okay, I'm getting frustrated, so sorry about this. This is a big puzzle. So if I have a polling location and no workers, I'm going to have to keep that as that ward. So that means that I have to get all new people in there if people won't move around. So just keep in mind that, okay, well, we're going to take the ones that said yes, but if I don't have people to work there, no one will go there. I can't have all new people there either. Okay, does that make sense?
Understood. I think we all understand that there are a lot of moving parts, and I think what is we don't want to eliminate any of the moving parts at this point. And we know that eventually you'll have to look at the polling places we have, poll workers, and determine, does it all work out? But I think the motion right now is that we are not eliminating any of the options that we have.
Oh, I thought we were approving. Okay.
Celestine, is that correct? Your motion was that we're not eliminating any option.
Correct. If they said yes, then let's keep them.
Right, okay. Any discussion on that? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion as stated, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposition? Okay, so it passed as stated. Moving on to number 2, consideration with possible action on efforts to recruit new poll workers. I think this is somewhat, and this is Alder Wary and myself are the chairs of this subcommittee. I think this is similar to Alder Dorf's report in that we're working. I'm working with Clerk Teske on creating some. And we could call them a press release or whatever you want to call them, but essentially releases that can be put out in press, but also social media, asking for additional poll workers, and to really push forward on that in the next couple weeks to see if we can get additional poll workers who would be alternates or who would.
She froze.
We're hopefully have as many of the former workers or the current poll workers as possible on those 2 elections. But we, and I believe last week it was 100 that we had, 92 or 100. Oh. Shoot. Okay. All right, can you hear me now? Okay. So anyway, we obviously will work with the poll workers we have, but the intent is to see if we can increase that amount. And if we have too many, fine. People going into it will know that, but they also know that it's a pandemic and having extras would not be a bad thing. So that's where we are with the poll workers. Alder Wary, did you have anything to add to that?
No, great. Sorry, I was in a waiting room and it said there was a meeting in progress, but I got stuck in there. Sorry. On that, no, I look forward to the press release or information. I know I kind of already put it on social media and told different people. So we're at about 100, I'm hearing, of commitments.
That's where we were last week. So I think we'll have an update on that in the in the informational, but that's where we were last week.
I did have a question for you, and it
No,
might have been in the first item, sorry. On locations, was that discussed in the first item?
Yes, polling locations.
Okay, and just as an FOI, we don't need discussion, but I did ask the Packers and Mr. Martin, because he has a couple buildings, the old toy store and then Shopko. So
Did they,
waiting for confirmation on that if needed.
did they say yes?
The Packers, they didn't say no. They just want to make sure once things open up again that they don't have any huge events going on. And Mr. Martin is looking at his information too. So I didn't get a no back. They're looking at it.
Okay. Okay, so I don't think we need a motion for number 2 unless someone wants to discuss poll workers. If not, we'll move on to number 3. Okay, number 3 is consideration with possible action on creating an outreach effort for absentee voting. H or Allison, I don't know if you have anything to add to this subject.
Allison, do you want to go or do you want me to? You're on mute.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so Alice and I briefly talked the other day about our committee and what we were trying to accomplish. We came up with some brainstorming and we're trying to follow through on a couple things with this, talking about reaching out to our committee is just to make sure is the early in-person is to reaching out to different communities and trying to organize a maybe group early vote in those communities, such as the Hispanic, Somali, the African American, and such. We were thinking if we could work with the mayor on potentially reaching out to the neighborhood associations to maybe convey this information. I don't know if that's something we can do. Celestine, is that something potentially use to maybe get literature out to them? Because I know that most neighborhood associations do newsletters on a regular basis. We can include something in their newsletter about early voting.
Yes, I have some other things to add. Sure. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were talking about that. We were also talking about trying to get people to get involved, potentially poll workers type of thing. But it was more of just trying to get different communities to get involved, get them to vote, and maybe even register and do things like that. So did I miss anything, Allison? I know that we talked about a lot of different things. We're still trying to work out some details and try to get together. And I know that one thing that we had was if we have, I think our committee is consisted of 6 people or 5 people. What can we do so we don't actually have to do like the open meeting type of thing? Can we meet, or how do we do that? This is all new to us. So I'm kind of looking for assistance on that.
Sure. So in terms of open meetings, as long as, you don't have a quorum of the committee, so that's
Okay.
3 or it's a committee of 9. So if you
Okay.
keep it 4 people or less, then you're good. And especially because
Okay.
it's a subcommittee, so if you talk to the people who are assigned in the subcommittee and then you report back here, then you're fine.
Allison, did I miss anything?
I think that was thing we were talking about, the broader civic engagement and voter education efforts. I mean, I have been wondering what the announcement about absentee, I guess their applications being mailed to everyone will mean for our subcommittee. But that may come up later in this meeting. And I realize there's still some final wording and such to nail down that may make that a little complicated. But
So Allison, why don't you just talk a little bit about that? That was just yesterday, I think, that came out from the WEC.
yeah, I mean, I don't know anything more than what was reported, which was that they decided they were going to mail applications to everyone, but they were going to decide about the wording later. And so on one hand, that seems like it potentially solves some of the challenges in some ways, but in other ways, maybe we should hedge our bets. I think H and I were talking a lot about kind of wanting to have multiple lines of advocacy, right? Not putting all the emphasis on absentee voting or all the emphasis on in-person voting or all the emphasis on trying to get people to the polls that day, but trying to make sure that we're advocating for all those areas, especially if we're not quite sure what absentee voting will end up looking like what they'll mail out. So I don't know much more beyond what they sent out in the press release. We were just thinking a lot about November in particular, and maybe this means we should focus on August rather than November, or not.
The thing is, what happens for August needs to have November combined with it. There's no time in between those two elections to not have a plan in place prior to August. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I guess I meant for our advocacy efforts, if we're thinking about informing people about absentee voting, and if the Election Commission is already going to send a mailing out to everybody about November, maybe that's all I'm saying. Maybe August should be where we put our emphasis.
Clerk Teske, something? Your hand raised for a moment.
Yeah, thanks, H and Allison, for doing that work. Just in terms of, so there, I had mentioned every door direct mail. Doing it is a little involved, actually trying to figure out the cost and where it would go. And so, obviously, I think we need more details from the WEC about them mailing out ballots, but those would be, I believe, to only registered voters. So then we have a whole host of people who are not yet registered, who should really get some information from us. Additionally, I did have a conversation with an advertising.
I can't hear.
Yeah, I can't either.
Sorry, I did. Yeah, that was not me. I did have a conversation with an advertising company, Lamar, about two different types of advertising. One is geofencing, which essentially sends information directly to people's cell phones. So I think that could be potentially an interesting way for us to reach some different groups of people, especially younger voters. And then there's also posters that we can put around. So instead of a traditional billboard, it's a poster, and a poster actually moves around. So the cost of the geofencing is $2,500 for 28 days, and for the posters, it would be $1,400 for 28 days. And so I think those are actually fairly good costs in order for us to augment whatever outreach efforts, in addition to obviously to social media. I think it would be very interesting to explore that for us. A long time ago, back in 2017, Chris and I had looked at doing some billboards. They were actually rather expensive. So this is a really great alternative if we were to go that route. But yeah, we do need more information about what the WEC is doing for mailing applications to registered voters. And if they are going to do that, then we definitely need to augment that with giving information to people who are potential unregistered voters.
I just have something for H and Allison. I'm in my neighborhood's association. So our spring newsletter already went out. Our next newsletter won't go out until September, so that would work for the November election. But all the neighborhood associations in the city are on what's called nextdoor.com. And the crime prevention officer at the Green Bay Police Department has access to send out an email to all neighborhoods. Whereas like if I sent it out on nextdoor.com, I'm only allowed to send it out to the neighborhoods that touch my existing neighborhood. So we could possibly make use of the crime prevention coordinator to send that out so that it would go citywide to the people that are signed on to nextdoor.com.
No.
So that would be for August. And then I'm sure my neighborhood would be more than happy to put something in our September newsletter for the November election. And I would think the other neighborhood associations would do the same. It just depends on when their next closest neighborhood leadership meeting is before that, so that they could make the announcement at that meeting to all the presidents.
One of the things that we had talked about is having the neighborhood associations maybe do like get the individuals in the neighborhood to actually do early voting and do as a group thing if possible. And that's why we needed to know their early voting hours, so we could say, okay, you know, a Coburn Park Neighborhood Association, we're going to all group early vote on these days, and kind of do as a community. It's another opportunity. I don't know if that's something that people would do or not, but it might be something.
Encourage a neighborhood event, maybe.
Correct.
Alder Storer, and then Alder Dorf as well.
All right, thank you, Chair. That was a good point that Barry brought up, but they usually meet the first Thursday of each month, and maybe Alder Dorf or Alder Weary or Alder Gerlach can help me as far as a date. I think June 4th. They usually do the first Thursday of each month.
Now it's every other month.
Oh, is it? So are they meeting in June?
Yes.
They are. So I'm thinking June 4th is the next meeting, which is a little over a week away. It's a week from today. So if that information could be brought to the neighborhoods at that meeting, I think that would help quite a bit.
Yes, Alder Dorf.
So I just have a question about going as a group because of the social distancing part of it, and of, you know, how many people they have working for the early voting. So did you take that into consideration at all, H?
Yeah, I actually did talk to Chris about that when we talked about 2 weeks ago, was to coordinate that with her. Going, you know, if there was going to be something, we would coordinate that with. It wouldn't be just a surprise, hey, you know, 100 people show up. No, it would be something I had mentioned, and we would coordinate that with the other thing is, when is City Hall going to be open? That's going to be the other thing. And are they going to be fully protected? Or is there going to be plexiglass, things like that, before we even try to attempt? We want to make sure that they're safe. So those are the things that we had talked about. We're just trying to brainstorm, come up with different things that maybe it's already been done, and you can let us know it's already been done, and you know, these are the pros and cons. That's what we're trying to do. We want everyone to be able to vote that's eligible.
Alder Gerlach.
Thank you. And I'm by no means an expert on this, but I am on the board of my neighborhood association. And of course, now that I'm an alder, I have 3 other neighborhood associations in my district. And I just think that you need to maybe be realistic about what neighborhood associations can actually do. For example, you talk about newsletters. We are required to put out 1 newsletter a year. For my neighborhood association, that's all we can afford to do. And so, you know, ours will probably go out in July, and we could be very helpful. But for others, I don't know that, you know, the newsletter is that helpful. I do believe anytime you want to get anything out to the neighborhood association leadership, you just go to Will Peters and he can get it out by email immediately. You don't have to wait for a meeting. There was something else I wanted to say about neighborhood associations in terms of to think that a neighborhood association could mobilize people to vote as a group, I just think that's unrealistic. The other 3 neighborhood associations in my district, to my knowledge, are not meeting because of the COVID-19. We have had a Zoom meeting. I'm still waiting for them to tell me that they're going to have a Zoom meeting, but I think they're kind of not meeting right now. So I just want to say, much as I love my neighborhood association and the whole program, don't rely too much on the neighborhood associations is my thought.
Okay, thank you.
Allison?
Yeah, and I think if you would like us to provide a kind of more formal plan of what we think are the best options, like we could certainly do that. We're just we're starting
by bringing up a lot of options, and certainly would be thinking about, I think that's very helpful to think about the limitations of the neighborhood associations as well as the benefits. I mean, we're also thinking about, you know, what other civic groups and places of worship and existing communities that are already connected to each other could we use to help mobilize. So I think we're just sort of in combination with some of the things that Celestine has talked about that could be done more directly. I mean, is what you'd like for our subcommittee to do to have a plan by a certain date? Or I feel like I'm still a little confused about who like makes the or what the next steps are sort of supposed to be. And I know this is my first city council meeting or committee, but.
Yeah, I think that given the nature of this ad hoc committee and the work that we're tasked with, I think it would be prudent to present something as a plan and for early
all
in
of us, you
person.
mean?
Yep. Yeah, each committee, I think that would be very helpful. And then that way we're also really directing our work and directing what we're talking about here. If we have something solid to refer to, say, yes, we're going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. Yes, we'd like to do that, but it costs too much. I mean, I think those are the kinds of decisions we need to make, and something formal, something presented would really be helpful.
So I agree. So if we could sometime in this meeting have a due date for that, because I don't think I think H and I were not thinking of ourselves as at that level yet after a week.
Understood. And I think this meeting to some degree, we're checking in with the subcommittees to see sort of where we are and, what progress has been made. And I think it will become more formal perhaps as we move forward, with the added reminder from Clerk Teskey that, that things move very quickly, and it seems like August is a long time away, but we have some of these things we have to have in place tomorrow. I don't know with number 3, if there's a motion on the floor, if we need to make a motion, or we hold this one as we do 1 and 2 for the next meeting. If anybody has, we'll hold it for the next meeting.
I make a motion to hold those until the next meeting.
Second.
I second it.
Or Karen.
Perfect. All those in favor of holding 1, 2, and 3 until the next meeting, all in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 1, 2, and 3 will be held for the next meeting. Number 4 is consideration with possible action on identifying voters' responsibilities and the clerk's office sphere of control. And I'm not sure, perhaps Chief of Staff Jeffries will.
Oh, that's Terry's. Terry
Oh, this
Racine.
is Terry's.
Yes.
Okay, Terry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that was addressed last week, and Barb actually addressed it. Because I was worried that we all had the wrong idea that a lot of the responsibility falls on Chris for what voters do. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that we have no control over the polling locations or actual voters. And they get to make the decisions of what they want to do, and we can't control it. So I just wanted to make sure that we were all kind of on the same page there and not thinking that this fell on the hands of the clerk's office.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Okay, understood.
I second that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, we don't have a motion on the floor. Is there any more discussion, or does anybody want to make a motion on number 4, or it's just informational?
Receive and place on file, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I move to receive and place on file.
I second.
All those in favor of receiving and placing on file number 4, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? No opposed. We're moving to informational. We'll start us report on poll workers and polling locations. And this is our update on what is currently, how many poll workers we currently have and the current polling locations, which we talked about polling locations, but Clerk Teskey might have something to add on that.
for polling locations, I told you my concerns about having 2 wards in one place, and the layouts. What I had proposed for November for poll workers, with the numbers I have now, I'm 223 poll workers short. Now, if we went to a bigger, areas, we could probably cut down some on that, but I didn't get responses from everyone. And from the way I look at it, if they're not going to respond to me when I asked for it right away, I don't think they're going to do it. A lot of them just want to wait to see how it's going to go, and I can't do that. It's kind of the same as before. They want to wait till the day before, and I can't work like that. So I have 20 chief inspectors and 92 election inspectors. So normally I would have 46 chief inspectors, so I'm 26 short there. If we go the individual polling location route.
And how many, and 223 is the individual route?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And we have 92 right now.
We have 92 plus 20 chief inspectors.
Okay.
So, yeah. So in total, we are 223 short.
Got it. Okay.
I do have, we sent out 20 to 25, I should say some put in applications, some didn't yet. The ones that I had the list from before, I sent out emails, and I've only gotten 2 or 3 out of the 20 that want to be poll workers again. I haven't heard from some of those. So I do have, some applications out there waiting to be returned if they're going to do it.
Okay. Okay. So we've got yes, Alder Dorff?
Just to clarify, we still need to find 223 people to work? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Because normally we have over 300, is that right?
Normally, my goal for November was 335 people total. I had about 280 people on my list to work and was going to recruit more for November. So as of right now, all that I have to work is the 112.
May I continue asking a question?
Yes, yes.
So then, but we know we are not going to have 31 polling places, right?
Correct. But
okay. Just
if
explain that.
Okay. If we're going to have the tables separate per ward,
okay,
we need 2 people there, if not 4, because I think there's like 8 wards that do split poll books, so I need 4 people at the books. What that would eliminate, if we have bigger places, is we wouldn't need as many people at the DS200s, the tabulators. We could get away with maybe half of those people, if we have them standing between the machines to assist. November is going to be huge for registrations. If it goes by a normal, that's all I can plan off of kind of as a normal.
Right.
So, we have a lot of registrations during a presidential, so we'll need a lot of people doing that. So, I'm guessing we could probably get away with getting 150 more people. We could probably make it work. I have to know what we're doing to be able to give that number. Okay, does that make sense? Okay.
Right. So, Alder Weary has a big job ahead of him, it looks like, I would say.
And that doesn't include then someone at the door to assist with social distancing. So then I need more people.
And you also need to think about the training for the people. So you need the people soon so you can get them trained, right?
Yes, I'm going to have them do online and then send our training packet through email. Yes.
So what is the deadline? We have to have a deadline for August. And you need this many poll workers for August.
That I don't know. In this political climate, every year it's changing and people are voting more, which is a wonderful thing. But we can't go back and look at prior, because normally August is lower, but I still need like 5 people per ward. That's kind of what we go by.
Okay.
So, that's still 200 and some people.
At what point does someone
So
make
what would
a
be the
decision on that? Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Chair.
No, same question is when would we have to have the poll workers trained by? What's the last date to have them trained?
Well, again,
July 15th or?
I would prefer the month before, depending on how busy we get for, August, because April, I didn't have time to do anything but do the labels. So I would prefer a month before. Then that gives payroll time to, because when people sign up, they do an application and then there is this packet that they have to do for HR.
Mm-hmm.
And some people look at it and go, not worth my time. So, and then payroll has to get that all in. So a month before.
So by July 11th, we must have our poll workers not only selected, but also trained. Yes or no?
Not necessarily trained. I would like to have them so I can schedule them a month before. I would have them train the next 2 weeks would be okay, because it's going to be virtual. It's not going to be Kim and I putting on 5 sessions in person. We'd have to have like 20 sessions with social distancing. So I'm okay with,
So
it done 2 weeks before for the training.
okay.
So we have a decision. We have a decision, a deadline. By July 11th, we must have 200 poll workers trained. No, 200, like 250? Is that right? Because 5 per ward.
Well, we have
The 112
Yeah,
are already
right.
trained.
They're trained. So in
So like
addition,
150, it's going to depend on what you decide with the polling locations. So I would do 150. And if we can get more, I would take more, because what this is, how I do it is for an August election, to me, that's a training for them for November. So
Right.
once they get going, get through it, and the chief inspector can help them in August with any questions. It's a little slower. They can be reading the manual to see, okay, that's what's going on there. So then they're set for November.
Hands-on where they can see how the process is. Yeah.
Yep. So as many, more than 150, please, because they're going to start backing out.
right.
It always happens, even if there isn't a pandemic. So.
Chair, can I ask another question?
Yeah, Aldorf, go ahead.
And so I believe that we do not have access to the National Guard because we're not under a state of emergency. Is that accurate? That we can't get the National Guard at this point?
Who are you asking?
Anybody that knows the answer. I don't know who to ask.
I don't know.
I just thought the National Guard could only be called out when the state was under a state of emergency, and we're not anymore. Alder Weary, do you know?
I don't know that.
I don't either. We could check. We could find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So who wants to do that? Because when I think people need to be assigned things. I'm sorry.
Mark, did you say you
I'm
were
not on the committee, but
I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, I'll check on that. Who do I get back to? Yourself or just the
Okay,
committee?
thank you.
Who should I get back to on that?
Alder, get back to the chair, Susan Smith.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one other quick question? Sure.
Yes, please.
And it sounded, Clerk Teskey was talking about having poll workers on board by early July, like July 11th. And then there would be 2 weeks of training after that. Is that correct?
Not 2 weeks, not 2 weeks of training.
Or 2 weeks, a window of 2 weeks to get them up on, to get
Right.
them up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would think that if that message could get out to the potential folks that would come on board for this, I would think that would be kind of cast in stone, saying July 11th, and then we'll have a 2 week period to train. I would think that would give people enough time to decide if it's going to work out for them. Seems pretty reasonable. So that's
The
all.
only thing is, if they're hemming and hawing about the pandemic,
No.
I don't think we should take them.
Right.
But that's just my opinion, because then they cancel right before, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. That's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions or report on number 1, status report on poll workers and polling locations?
I have a question. I don't know would it be possible for like these high school, there's some of these high school kids that are really responsible. Could we have them as poll workers, that if they're in a government class or something where they would want to do that?
Yes, Clerk Teskey.
We've tried that. Years ago they did, but then 2 years ago, I had one that she came forward and wanted to, and I thought, great worker. The next election, she wouldn't answer me, didn't want to, commit to anything. Then the following one, she wanted to come back. To get high school students, they're not reliable, and neither are UWGB students. We were in a meeting with GB 6 months ago or so, and they even agreed. We had them actually, to get a polling location out at UWGB in the beginning, they were going to run the show. They were going to be the chief inspector, the election inspectors. All of a sudden, the chief, he disappeared for a couple hours, and then he came back. So they weren't reliable, and I know that's not everyone. I know that, but I can't take that chance. If you want to do high schools, then I get a letter from the school, and I get a letter from the parents. But I wish they would be reliable. They need to make a commitment to the 2 elections then.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Chair.
Yes.
Thanks. So I think that couple things. First of all, we are recruiting amongst the staff for election help, not only for poll workers, but then there's also lots of work that needs to be done here at City Hall. So we are doing that recruitment. I also do want to let you know that we have a tab on the website that.
Can't hear you.
We can't hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
hard to hear you, Celestine.
That's terrible. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now it's good.
I just wasn't close enough to the, sorry about that, close enough to the microphone.
From Zoom.
So we have a tab on the website. So where it says, how do I, on the far right corner, there's a place where it says, how do I vote? So it needs to be populated. That's a great place to put, how do I volunteer or sign up to be a poll worker? I think we also have to look at organizations that we need to just basically tap into, where there's already civic mindedness. Current is one of those. Rotary, Optimist, not all those are in the city of Green Bay, but so Lions Club, those are a lot of organizations that, and I would imagine some of their members are already poll workers, but it doesn't hurt to ask again, especially current.
I thought we did that already, Celestine,
at
at the beginning of the year.
That's I don't know, actually, if we did. And, you know,
Okay.
things have
Alder
changed
Steuer?
too. Oh, I'm sorry. Things have
Thank you,
changed a
Chair.
little bit.
Oh, are you done, Celestine?
Just 1 second, Alder, sorry.
Okay.
Things have changed a little
My
bit too,
apologies.
just because we need to, now that we have the pandemic, right? There's that added burden. And when we have our conversation in just a second about costs, PPE, I think is going to be a really important element of recruiting and retaining poll workers. So, go ahead, Alder Steuer.
Okay, thank you. It may have been talked about already, but the League of Women Voters, is that a conflict of interest at all, having
No.
them involved?
No,
I would say that'd be a big organization.
No, I am with the League of Women Voters, but we have done that. I didn't mention it, but we put that in our newsletter several times. I mean, even a year ago.
Right.
And it's
Okay.
out on Facebook, become a
Sure.
poll worker. And I share, back and forth, and other people do. It's posted all the time. And
Okay.
they don't
All
seem
right.
to come enough. There's a few of us that are poll workers.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Hopefully we'll plug it again though, and maybe we can get some more. I know when I took over chairman of my ward, the one I had, at the time I worked at Yonkers, and I called up and I had one lady left. I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? I went and recruited them from the department store, and my neighbors, and my sister does it. And, if you can just reach out. But it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's not a conflict of interest.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that point? If not, we'll move on to number 2, report on impending deadlines. And we've heard of a couple already. Are there any other, Teskey?
I guess what I needed to know is the extended voting hours. And I mean, I just assumed we were going to have in-person voting on June 25th. So now you're telling me it's going to be in July, Celestine, or are we going to?
No, that's correct. So early in person, and so the mayor confirmed all those times are still good. I sent you an email, and because that's about letting people back into City Hall. As you know, we won't be ready in terms of our own safety. So July 13th for early in person for August.
Much time.
If I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Celestine or Chris, when does early in-person actual start? Is it the end of June? Is that the earliest we could possibly do it?
Normally what I do is as soon as we get the ballots and get organized. So my thought was June 29th, because we're supposed to have them by the 25th. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So I was thinking June 29th. The law is 2 weeks before, and that's what a lot of municipalities are doing, but I've always done it longer. And if I can just repeat from the other the other meeting, Alder, when you weren't there, there's pros and cons to it. When you're that far out, people forget that they voted. So we'll send out their absentee and then they send it back. And then by the time August comes, they're like, I never got my ballot. So, or they want to change their vote 3 different times, which they have that right. So there's the pros and cons of both. I just wanted you to be aware that we talked about that.
Okay. No, thanks.
So if it's July 13th that it's starting, what kind of hours are we just going to do it during our normal office hours then? Or are we doing Saturdays or?
Right.
Yep.
So
what it means is then, Kim, the 2 weeks before on Wednesday and Thursday, we'll work till 6:30.
Okay,
And then on Saturday, we'll do 10 to 4 on both days, but the last Saturday, they cannot register, they can only vote.
right, okay, I just wanted,
Yep,
okay.
I had it here, I had to pull up what we had planned, yeah.
Susan disappeared.
Sorry, my Zoom
There
keeps
she's back.
freaking up. My apologies. Yes, Alder Steuer?
Thank you, Chair. I realize this isn't right on the agenda item, and I missed the last meeting or two of this group, and I'm just wondering, has it ever been discussed as far as how many people are projected to vote absentee versus in person or other form of voting? I don't know if there's any feel for that right now. I know it's still early. I understand any kind of a feel at all. Might be a silly question, but just asking. Probably not, right?
We all just see it, all the clerks are talking about how it's gonna be absentee voting. Mainly through the mail is how they're seeing it.
So percentage-wise, what are they talking? Are you thinking 90%? Hard to say.
Well, August is usually a lower turnout election. In November of 2016, as a whole, we had about 80% turnout. I'm thinking, probably 90% of the ones that would vote would do absentee. That's a guess. But Allison, she wants to talk about it.
Yeah, Allison, go ahead.
Chris is done. Yeah, I think that Chris is right. I don't think anyone knows, obviously. I do think a lot of it will depend on, the general situation, but also whether people are working on that Tuesday. I mean, I think a lot of the reports say that the reason why our election turnout was so high in April was because so many people sadly were not at work. And so were able to show up on that day, even if they weren't able to do the absentee. But I think what Chris said is what a lot of the political scientists think, that there's going to be a lot more absentee voting, but I don't think anyone's willing to make any predictions with numbers. I've started writing up a little information page about what we know, but all of it is very speculative, just like Chris was saying. I mean, I think city clerks on the ground probably have as good a sense as a lot of others, just because it's so uncertain. But I think so much of it is on, are people at work? How much do they trust absentee balloting? I think there's so much political, partisan, I don't know what the right word is about that right now, that it's making it really difficult to know whether people will see that as a safe option. I mean, if you look at places like Oregon that do all mail-in voting, pretty quick shift towards trusting that, but none of that's during a pandemic. So I think we are concerned about that, but I think it's so hard to predict.
Allison, I wish we could get that out there, how safe absentee voting is. People just don't understand how everything is accounted for, but.
So, somebody supposed to speak here? Or what?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's so weird in a Zoom meeting, you
Okay.
usually get a visual cue.
Any other comments on impending deadlines? If not, we'll move on to informational number 3, update on acquisition and cost of equipment.
So,
Clerk Teske, or go ahead, sorry, Celestine.
so I actually sent out in the packet, I sent just a little starting spreadsheet, and I'll put that up here. I don't have there's no costs in there yet, except there is one thing that Chris can talk about, the DS $450. She did get a quote for that. I also, on this spreadsheet, which I will update, sorry, gotta be really close to the microphone, is advertising as well. You probably can't see that, but at the bottom, I put another tab for advertising. That would be for registrants, for new registrants rather, for absentee balloting and for early in-person. So for the equipment, I think that when we're looking at PPE, I think we need to find out all of it, right? So gowns, hairnets, face shields, gloves, hand sanitizer, and cough guards. What that's going to look like per. Obviously, there's some poll worker training. I don't know if there's a cost associated with that. Polling locations, if there's any new costs. I know that Chris can give more details to this, but there's a set amount of money that we pay for a polling location. And then we also do have staff that work for the election, on election day. That's what this is about. So just, I think that this is a list that I want to start populating. And if there's any other items that we should put on this list, now's the time to let me know. I'm going to stop sharing.
The face shields, is that the plastic shields?
Yep.
Or is that masks?
No.
Because then where's masks if it's plastic shields?
So I didn't include masks. I'm thinking that a lot of people have masks, but let's put that on there. See, I have a mask. Here's my mask. But yes, I think face shields are, one other step.
Yeah.
Just add that.
Okay, good. I think you should add masks too, though.
Okay.
That would be nice.
That'd be great. I will do that. Okay.
Great.
Anything else? Like I said, I think, and Allison and H had talked about this at the first meeting. I think that PPE is really important. But anything else that should be added to this list so I can start populating it? And Chris has a lot of these numbers already, but I'm going to utilize our procurement department to help me get some costs for those things.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Go ahead.
Celestine, does that go, that'll go before a committee as well and then council? How is that going to go as far as when you put in the requests?
That's a really excellent question. There is money being allocated, not just money that has already been allocated, but there seems to be money coming from the state for some of this. So I am not sure if we are going to have to foot the bill for this. It's possible that there will be money for us from the state to get especially that PPE. But I don't know at this point. That's like my answer so much these days. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think we have to at least capture what those costs could be for the maximum number of poll workers that Chris is saying we should have.
So you're going to do it for the overall set of poll workers.
Yes.
And then the amended forms of poll workers if we have fewer places?
Correct. And
What
I'll do is
scenarios.
Yes, and I'll do it, number of workers. So if we have 100 workers here, right? I don't know if that'll show up for you. And if it's, $3.50 per.
All right, I see it.
Then that would be $350.
But then times two, because there's two elections, right? Times two?
Oh, yes, times two. Right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm sorry, Clerk Chesky's hand was up. Sorry.
I'm done. Thank you.
Go ahead, Clerk Teskey.
So on that list, because I don't know what will go through in August, we need disinfecting wipes, and we'll need
disinfecting wipes.
Spray disinfecting,
right?
Paper towel or whatever we want to use to wipe it up. And when we get that stuff, I guess I'd prefer, I know I'm being picky, but some of that cleaner you have to rinse after the fact. And some of these kids that are being put in carts in the store, they're getting burns on their little legs. Why kids should even be in carts in the store is beyond me, but so they can cause burns if we don't get the right stuff that you can just spray and be done. We have a lot of pens. I know the last time they disinfected the pens, we do have a lot of pens. I don't know how long they'll last. So, you know, if we want to disinfect those to just kind of have a rotation for both elections so we don't have to purchase more.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, we don't have any face masks left. We don't have any gloves left. Hand sanitizer, I'm still waiting to hear from the fire chief if we can still use those bottles that have the vodka in it, or the vodka bottles that have the sanitizer in it.
Wait, where is that vodka?
If they're still good, because if they fermented and you use too much of it, you can get a buzz. I'm still waiting on that.
All right, good news.
One other question. Should we, this is, it really is not on the agenda, but something for us to consider. Are we going to provide masks for voters should they want them?
One of the poll workers asked if we could require them to wear them, and I didn't think we could by law.
I'm not sure if we can.
I think if the place we're using as a polling place requires them, then we would have to require them at that particular place, right?
I don't know. I don't know if it's not required by the state or feds. If we could, we should.
Right.
Well, then we
probably look
can't.
into
Then we
that.
couldn't use that polling place. Then we'd have to say, sorry, we can't use your polling place because we can't require masks. That would be really sad.
Well,
We don't have
but
enough
you know,
as it is.
here's the thing. I'm not trying to say that I'm actually not making an argument for requiring voters to wear the masks. I'm saying, should we have them available? Should a voter show up to vote and be like, oh my gosh, I forgot my mask at home. Do you have a mask for me? That's
And we'll
really
have
what I'm
to-
saying.
We'll have to have someone handing them out then.
Very true.
It's probably a good idea, but we don't have 44,000 of them. We just don't.
Right? So
Somebody
should
start
I
sewing.
find a cost? I mean, listen, all I'm doing is finding a cost. Should I find a cost?
Yeah, for how many?
50, there's 52,000 registered voters.
I don't think,
No.
oh, my battery's running.
No, I
out.
mean, I obviously, I'll just see. Let me just see what I find.
10% maybe?
Yeah.
So Celestine, are you going to look for those things then,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I shouldn't order, or
Well, I'm
how's
gonna-
this going to work?
I am going to, thank you for asking, because I think it's the time for who's doing what. So I'm going to ask Calvin Winters is our procurement manager. I'm going to ask him to look into that and to see what he can do in terms of ordering. If everyone
Okay.
is in agreement that I should go and look for these things.
Okay, because I'm worried that they're going to be short again and we won't be able to get
yeah.
stuff.
I hear you. So that the
Yeah.
time is now. I will
So
send
do
this
you
email.
need our permission? You surely should not need our permission.
Well,
You should just go forth and do it, right?
well, but this is the committee, so I mean,
Yeah, okay.
just say
If
yes.
you want a motion, we can certainly do that.
Although this really is an informational item, but if there's
Move
anything.
to, and I think we might have done that.
That's informational.
Well, we
Yeah.
can add it to next week's meeting. Yes, Alderdorf?
As I said at the beginning of the meeting, this committee is supposed to be helping and not getting in the way of work that needs to be gotten done by city staff. And I just don't feel, I think we can come up with ideas and we can help, but I feel we shouldn't be managing every part of it so that you feel you can't move forward unless you get the committee's okay to move forward. So I think you need the mayor's okay. I mean, I think he's kind of the boss, but I'm not sure the committee should be the boss. We should be a support advisory committee. But please, someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Clerk
I
Teskey?
am over budget on the office supply part from the last election, and I just ordered about $7,000 more in envelopes. So I don't know if that's, I mean, I need the stuff. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on some of this. I just have to have it. So I guess I'm with Alder Dorf wondering, what am I supposed to do? I asked my boss and she said I have to ask, well, she question mark, ask the committee. So
Do it. Or
Thank you, Alder Weary. Thank you.
get it.
We can't hold you up. I'm feeling very passionate right now, but we can't hold up the progress of this election because the committee didn't meet until Thursday and we should have ordered it Wednesday. Although I would like to hear from Celestine because she also has the pulse of the city running through her veins. Pulse person, where are you?
I'm right here. Yeah, listen, we have right. Sure, all of that. I'll get the amounts. I'll get it going.
Okay.
Right. And I think last meeting, we did vote on to press forward with getting all the PPE we need. So
I think we did.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so does that include so the cough sneeze guards, then are you going to go to Parks and ask them for an estimate from what they charged the last time? I'm estimating about $43,000.
So what I'll do is I'll ask once again, so we have a procurement manager and I will let him handle that. Either it's Parks, but they're super busy, or it's just ordering them, which will cost some serious dollars. So
I thought it was already decided they were supposed to make them, so I apologize. I guess I wasn't in on that conversation.
Yeah, I am not sure, Chris, if Parks was tasked to make all of them for all of the polling locations. I did not hear that.
I would think so.
Sure, they have. Yeah, I don't know.
And I keep bringing it up.
They certainly are not making the cough guards for City Hall right now.
Soon.
They're not making the cough guards for City Hall right now. We are ordering those. So.
How much more are they to order them versus internal?
I do not have that cost comparison.
Is it okay? But those, and I just want to clarify, those are being custom made, correct?
For City Hall? Yes.
Yes.
They are custom made.
So, I need to have them a certain size for the polling locations, like the ones that were made. And Terry and Karen, please correct me if I'm wrong, but those were a good size, right?
Well, it depends on what tables each location has. I would say if you could come up with something that sits on top the table would be better, because not everybody has a 6-foot table. East had more 7-foot tables than 6.
Yeah, that was an issue.
They really had to dig for 6-foot tables. So if we could find sneeze guards that would sit on top, probably would be best. And not something on a stand that goes outside the table.
Mm-hmm.
What about the sturdiness of it then, though? That's what they were worried about, that if it sat on the table, it wouldn't be as sturdy. Do you think that would be an issue? I mean, it was supposed to be all set with the school district, what size we needed. And at the last minute, it came up, they didn't have them. So that was the issue there. So I apologize on that. So I want to make sure we get the right thing.
I think they would be okay. Most of our voters never touched the table. They were just handing their IDs underneath. So I think if they sat on top of the table, they would be okay.
Okay. But width-wise, was that good? Because it was made for 6 feet apart for the poll books.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we get the right thing. Okay.
Anything more on those costs? I know we still need to talk about the DS 450.
Yes, please.
Okay. Clerk Teske, can you give us a quick update on last meeting? There was not one available, but it sounds like in the last week, has become available?
Somehow ES&S got a shipment in. This isn't the most high speed, but you know, that would cost a fortune anyway. The one that they got in, the cost with training and the extras we need for it, for the initial cost is $61,660. And then for maintenance every year would be over 3,000. Yep, 3,470.
Oh.
And why I feel this would be good is because in 2016, we had central count for the first time. And from the outside, it looked like it went well, and it did go well, but we were running around like chickens with our heads cut off to try and get the results in time. In 2018, for the governor's election, we had 3 DS200s for the wards. One broke, and ES&S, the company, couldn't even fix it. And for some reason, everything was scanning very slow. So I think we got done around 11 o'clock that time. And that, you know, wasn't anywhere near the absentee ballots that we had in April. So I thought if we got this faster tabulator, we wouldn't be hearing what takes Green Bay so long, even though it's not our fault because the county puts us last. This does about, I think it was 4,000 ballots an hour. The DS200, I think Diana figured out at that time when she was helping, it was like 1.5 minutes, 3/4 for each ballot. So this would be a lot faster. But from my understanding, maybe this won't happen because there's other costs, which I understand, but in November on election night, and if we don't have all those absentees in, I can't help it then, because we're doing the best we can with what we have. I did reach out to the county, to Justin, the deputy clerk, and I said, you know, I'm going to bring this forward. And he said, oh, I think that would be great for you guys. But, you know, $61,000 is a lot of money. So I just wanted to bring that forward. And there's 2 other things that the county sent over that would make things go faster is a ballot folder, where it would fold the ballots. Right now we do it all by hand. And an envelope opener. So at central count, all those envelopes have to be opened with a, envelope opener. And sometimes the ballot gets ripped and then we have to remake the ballot. With those 2 things, that was about, let's see, do you have that one also that I sent to show?
I don't, oh, let me see. Let me find that.
Okay.
I didn't put that in my folder.
So, you know, I was told ask for the world and see what you can get. So I'm asking for the world and just throwing it out there for you guys to decide what, you know, you think the city wants.
So you're looking for the ballot folder right
My
now?
understanding from last meeting is the DS. Sorry, go ahead, Alder Steuer.
I'm sorry I interrupted. I just was, you're looking for the cost on the ballot folder. I guess part of me is asking with these different expenses coming forward, and there's maintenance on the DS 450, but Clerk Teske, you're saying that if we had those in place, that it would exponentially help with elections from moving forward from now on.
On election day, yes. Now in April, we had 4 extra days to get those absentees in.
Yeah.
During a normal election, we start at 7 in the morning and we hope to be done at 8 at night to get all absentee ballots through the machines and then tabulate at 8 o'clock. I'm just thinking if we have, you know, say 15,000, that's huge. I mean, that's a lot of ballots. We do have 5 machines now, but that would be, 10,000 per machine from 7 in the morning till 8 at night.
Okay. How much time would you save? Because I remember you said it would take about 5 to 6 minutes per ballot when you, all the times you fold them and put it together. I don't know if this is a different question, but would there be any time savings if you had machinery to help with that as well?
Okay, so that would be totally different from this machine.
Right. Okay.
The folding of the folding machine would help when we're stuffing, slapping the label, stuffing the ballot into the envelope. I'm hoping there, because the bottleneck there was getting the label printed. I think if you've been listening to the Wisconsin Elections Commission, they're really taking ownership of that and realize now how long it took us to do each one. And if they can do what they're proposing, oh my gosh, we'll be jumping for joy in the clerk's office, because they wanted to go, instead of an email to us, they're going to make it that it goes directly into the system, and then we'll pull up a screen, and then we will decide if they have their photo ID, and then we can go from there. So it's supposed to be a lot less steps. But what we're doing for that is we're getting city employees trained to help now this time versus what we went through the last time. So we're trying to get more people that way. So with the WEC, what they're doing with the system and getting more people, and then us pushing for people to sign up early, we're hoping it's going to help. Because we're at the mercy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're at the mercy of the WEC.
Right.
It's their system.
So are you saying that that would be great if we got it, but if we don't get it, is there any guarantee that they will come through for us? Probably, in a timely fashion.
The WEC?
Yes.
With this new
for labeling.
Don't know.
Okay.
It's been that way all along. It's
right.
On their timeline.
Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you. Alder Dorf has a question.
I don't see Susan. Did she disappear?
She's on mute.
Oh, okay. I just want to say, I know this is informational, so we really can't even do a motion at this point. And can we do a recommendation at this point? I think I'm asking Celestine Jeffries that.
Yeah. It's not an action item, but yeah, certainly, if there's something that you think needs to be done.
Well, I would recommend that we definitely look into the possibility of purchasing this tabulator, and that if this ballot folder and opener package is going to speed things up too, then I think we should look at, asking for funding, or seeing if perhaps Mayor Ganrick has heard from the WC now how much funding we will be getting. Right. I know that we're going to be getting some funding. I think we're going to know that by Monday. So maybe what I'm saying is that you would have this, perhaps if everyone could have the support of the committee, if you found out we had the money to go forth and do it, even though we can't really make a motion, but we could, what is that? Come to consensus. We'd have consensus about this. Who feels consensual at this moment?
Any further discussion on that? I would agree with that as well, that if we have the funding, that if it speeds it up, that it would be worthwhile to get the DS 450.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. Allison?
Yeah, can I ask a question? So I'm also feeling consensual, as Barb says. But I'm curious, the money folks are talking about, is this the CARES Act subgrant that the WEC talked about in their last minutes? Is that the money that we're talking about? I'm just trying to understand like what.
Yes.
So it'll relate to how many voters we have, but it would need to think about this as well as the PPE and the other costs.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
On the
Clerk Teske.
WEC's website, they talk about that money, and they talk about the absentee informational mailer that will be for November, not more than $2,252,035. Sanitation and PPE supplies, not more than $500,000. So I'm wondering if we're going to get extra money for that. They did that in April. They supplied the supplies. The WEC cost for mailing, that's something different. But the sub-grant program to local election officials, right now they're looking at $200 base and $1.10 per voter. Right now, that's, this could all fall apart if they don't agree on that mailer. So just bring that out there.
Okay. Barb, did you want us, or Alder Dorf, would you like us to take a vote on your
Well, it's not like
request?
you
No.
could vote nod your head, or I'd like
Right.
to, if somebody really objects to this, could you please say that?
Opposition? Yeah,
We
right.
can't really vote. We can't vote. We just have to look pleasant.
Okay. No opposition, though. No arguments, not consenting.
Nobody
Okay.
seems to be non-consensual, so we're good.
Okay. Anything else on acquisition and cost of equipment before we move on? Okay. And the last,
Can I
yes,
ask?
go ahead. Mhm.
So
Clerk.
maybe this is a Celestine question. Like I said, I'm over on the budget for my office supplies. So I'm just ordering what I have to have, like the envelopes I have to have, and I might have to order more depending on how much we use for August. So am I still okay to order what I have to have, or do I have to run it by someone? Or
Well,
because Diana thinks it goes through here, so I'm not sure who I answer to.
so, I think that let's just make sure we have a conversation to clarify that. Because you will need a lot of things in order to run this election. So
Okay, so you want me to run it by you?
yes,
Okay.
let's have
I
let's
just-
have a conversation and make sure we include Diane and the mayor in that. And
Okay,
I'll get
anybody
that
then-
scheduled.
So nobody from the committee, I just want to do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it seems to me, unless someone's going to correct me, that the committee is all in favor of the clerk's office acquiring the necessary things in order to make sure the election runs smoothly, both for the two things that we have to settle, right? We have polling locations that we have to settle for people to vote on election day smoothly, and then we have absentee balloting and early in person. So those two things, we have to make those things run smoothly, and those are going to cost more money. So, yes, but
My only issue is, and please don't take this wrong, okay?
never.
I might ask for something that you guys think I shouldn't need, but maybe some in the committee think I should need. That's my concern.
Well,
Because, like there's like a lot of them are saying they're representing the citizens. So I just want to make sure, because I don't want to be caught in the middle again. I'm just trying hard to
yeah,
make sure that.
yes.
I mean, I'm getting it from the Democratic Party. I am just getting it from everyone, and I want to make sure I'm.
So I think the benefit is that we meet right now, we're meeting every week. That's a lot. So we can move very nimbly if you think that there's some kind of tension between an item that this committee seems to encourage the clerk's office to acquire and some other kind of decision out there, then I think this committee can settle that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
But let's have a conversation with Diana and the mayor just to clear up the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
And I will set that up as soon as I'm done with this Zoom meeting.
Oh, great. Alder Weary? And you're on mute, so you're still on mute.
I never want to be mute. Yeah, Chris, I was going to say, and feel comfortable that if for whatever reason you aren't approved to purchase something, please bring it here. We'd rather you bring it here. Let us know about it. You know, you might feel uncomfortable about it, but let us know. I'm hoping you're going to get the okay to purchase whatever you need. I believe that. But if you don't, bring it here and let us know so we can go through our channels and give you the okay. Okay? I mean,
Thank you. Okay.
if you're getting a stop sign somewhere else, bring it here because we'd like to look at it. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
I agree on that too.
Thank you.
Noted. Okay. Anything else on acquisition and costs? The last item is very short. Fair elections during a crisis. Totally informational. It's included in your packet. It's got some really good recommendations. I actually included that, and it's just for your reading. And if it helps some of the subcommittees, most of the recommendations are for a state, federal level, but we can use some of them also for the city level. But that's totally to be read on your own. And that's all I have to say on number 4. So I think we are ready for adjournment if there's any motion.
Motion
I
to
just say
adjourn.
on number 4 that the executive summary is really good. And that's only 9 pages, so don't let the 45 pages scare you. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
It's very,
It's good.
Yeah, it's a good
good.
read.
It's good. Okay, move
Is
to
this
adjourn.
available? Is this available? Just a quick question.
It's
Is
in
this
the
available
packet.
for the non-committee members?
go ahead, Alder Stoyer.
Alder, it's in the packet.
I mean, so we can, I have to
Yes.
do with that as well.
Absolutely. The whole,
All right.
it's not like SORB or PNP. The whole packet is public.
All right, thank you.
Actually, Mark Barb has recorded it in audio book form, so you can listen to it when you're driving. That was nice.
If I take a lot, it's fun.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Oh, that was pretty
Motion
funny.
to adjourn. Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Celestine.
Okay. My audio's all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Goodbye.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Great.
Aye. Good job.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
No one opposed, and this meeting is adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheryl? How are you? I am so glad to hear that. That is good.